Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into something fascinating from the Federal Trade Commission. It's a recent move, yeah. And it's sending some serious ripples through the advertising world. Could actually reshape where ad money flows. We're talking potential shifts away from news outlets, maybe towards big tech. We're pulling this from reporting over at Business Insider and ROIads.co.
That's right. And it's all centered around a big ad agency merger, Omnicom and Interpublic Group, IPG. The FTC actually approved it, which is huge news in itself. But, and this is the key thing, they tacked on a condition, a big one.
Okay, what was the condition?
Well, basically, these merged giants, they cannot block ad placements just because of an outlet's political views or, its ideology. The stated aim was pretty clear: tackle what some see as anti-conservative bias in advertising, stop these ideological exclusion lists some advertisers were reportedly using. They wanted to open things up.
Right, so the goal sounds straightforward. Promote fairness, stop bias. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting, kind of paradoxical, actually. Analysts are now warning, well, despite the FTC's intentions, this might backfire.
How so?
It could inadvertently make brands more hesitant about advertising with news outlets. They might see them now as high-risk environments. And where does that money go instead?
Yeah.
Potentially straight to Google, Meta, the big platforms.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is hearing industry voices point this out. They're saying this ruling could seriously speed up the shift towards purely algorithmic ad buying, programmatic.
So taking the human element out even more.
Sort of. Traditional agencies use insight, data, relationships. But the tech giants, they have the scale, the automation. In a world obsessed with brand safety, their automated, performance-driven systems, they look really appealing. Very efficient. We're even seeing CPMs that's cost per 1,000 views potentially going up as brands play it safe. They might choose these huge, scalable platforms over news sites that now seem, well, maybe more complicated or risky.
Okay, let's connect the dots then. What does all this mean for the bigger picture? For you listening, we're talking potential impact on where ads can even show up that's inventory, pricing, obviously, across the whole market.
And it doesn't necessarily stop there. You could see more regulatory eyes on ad tech itself, plus maybe even a subtle kind of self-censorship. Publishers trying not to seem too risky to advertisers. It's complex.
It really is. So you have this ruling designed for fairness,
explicitly meant to combat bias,
that analysts predict could end up shifting money and power in ways nobody really saw coming, towards big tech, away from news.
Was the core tension, yeah. A regulation aimed one way, potentially pushing the market another.
Classic unintended consequences, right? Which leads us to a final thought for you to mull over. If these predictions pan out, if this shift really happens, how does that change the news information you see online every day?
Yeah, and what does it mean for the actual financial health of diverse news sources, the ones trying to give different perspectives? It really highlights that interplay, doesn't it, between regulation, how markets react, and ultimately the content we all consume. Something to think